we have here is a first. See, usually when we see doors, like, it's like their just lock is broken, I can't open it. Or it's something you can open, you just walk through with a little loading screen. This is the first time, like, these doors are torn off the hinges. Something came in here, and it was like tearing ass to get in here. And what we have here is a picture. Now, this is interesting to me. I think I know what that is supposed to be. I think I do. I think that's supposed to be the final boss arena. I don't know, though. It's so low poly and so small, I can't quite make it out. But if that's supposed to be the final boss arena, that's interesting. I'm not sure if that means anything, or what it would mean if it did. Regardless, let's look around. Alright. So, just walking around, and uh-oh. If I could have a life-sized recreation of this in a heartbeat, I would love it. I would put that everywhere I lived. If you walked through my front door, this would be the first thing you saw. If I could own art, it would be this. Misty Day, Remains of the Judgment. It's him. 1. Pyramid Head's carrying the spear. Interesting. But also, they are in the boxes that... These bodies are in the boxes that the flesh lips were. Same design. But, my god, if I could have this. Oh. Ah, so good. Look at that art. Beautiful. Also, this is just a little way to let you know. This is Pyramid Head's house. He's been hunting us the whole game. We're going to him now. Yeah, I'm not allowed to own art since the incident. Look, okay. I keep on forgetting I should try and paint this. You do not need to put in that much effort, but I would be very, very happy with it. Like, oh yeah. But, yeah, it's like, look, I just need a few couple hundred more terabytes for the extended Jill folder, okay, Bob? I need some more data. That's all. Please make special attention to his gross skin gloves, like his little Danny DeVito penguin hands. There's nothing useful written on them. Nothing particular. Here we go. You forget that would be very minimal effort. It's, I don't know, it's like to look like that seems like it would be quite difficult to make. Photos hanging here. Brookhaven Hospital, 1880. This hospital was built in response to a great plague that followed a wave of immigration to this area. It was originally little more than a shack, but it gradually grew and grew. I love the phrasing of this. I'm going to give credit to the happy video game nerd / stop skeletons from fighting, who did a stream of Silent Hill 2. He made a really interesting point about this that I never really thought about, but the way this is phrased is so interesting, because, like, okay, what grew? The plague? The hospital? Both of them together? It's phrased to be extremely ambiguous, and I love that shit. Like, that's good horror writing right there, right? Let your mind fill in the details like that shit. Ah, it's so good. Photo of the director of the old Brookhaven Hospital. Looks like he was a famous person in town. There's a photo of a deep, deep hole. What could this be? Remember this image for later. We're going to be seeing this very shortly. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Now keep in mind, we are in right here. We're at the Historical Society, just at the Nathan Avenue sign. We're at the lake. We are at lake bed right now. And this is a staircase going down. Listen to that hum. Listen to that. You hear it? Hear it getting louder? It keeps happening! It's a horn. I've warned you about the stairs, dog. I warned you, bro. I told you about the stairs. It just keeps happening. So yeah, we are now impossibly deep below the earth. It should be physically impossible to be where we are. Let's go forward. And where the fuck are we? Some kind of document that's lying here. September 11th, 1820. Prisoner number C221. Can't read the rest. What is this? We're in prison. We are in a prison. Underneath the lake, at the very bottom. Underneath a large body of water. Huh. Reach for the sky. Gotcha. Damn, look at him we go. Alright, we'll go in here. Ah! Oh shit. This is the painting. But let's not go here yet. There's one more thing I want to look at. Oh, where are you? Right in the dick. Well, I mean, I guess right in the vag, but you know how it is. You know how it goes. I want to go in here first. This is a room people tend to overlook. Hand bullets, but we have 3 pictures here. All very interesting. Let's look at this one. Photos hanging here. Toluca Prison Camp. I love the way that's phrased. It's not Toluca Prison. It's prison camp. It kind of brings to mind the idea of like POW, internment camps, those kind of things. Like, it paints a worse picture than just calling it Toluca Prison. Built during the Civil War, later became Toluca Prison. Photo is hanging here. Death by skewering. An execution at the prison. Death by skewering or strangling. To choose his death is the prisoner's last taste of freedom. So, I suppose what I find interesting about the Historical Society section more than anything else is the idea that Silent Hill was always fucked. In Silent Hill 1, they imply that it was the ALLLLLLL incident that sparked everything. And there are sirens in the background, sorry about that, but it's what it is. But they imply that the ALLLLLL incident is the spark that caused what is happening in the Silent Hill games, that caused the nightmares to come to life, etc. That it was the first real bad shit that went down. Silent Hill 2 shows that's not the case at all. Silent Hill was always fucked. And Silent Hill 1 is just it is a footnote in a long stretch of what went down. But I really like what's said here. Death by skewering or strangulation. Yeah, the sirens are fitting. Doomed is going to the other world. The sirens. Oh no, I'm going into my personal hell. It's like, I instantly go out the door. The game glitches. I'm playing Downpour. Like, oh, the brand new PC port of Downpour came out for free. It's already installed. I'm instantly playing that, and it's like, no. But death by skewering and strangulation. This is interesting. So if Pyramid Head is something of a executioner, we'll call him, we've seen him skewer someone. We've seen it. We haven't seen him strangle, though. Interesting. Put a little pin in that. That's important. I'll talk about that much later. And here we have what is one of the most important images in the game, and for the final video, we're going to put a much higher res version of this. A painting is hanging here. Crimson and White Banquet for the Gods. It is very hard to get a good look at that. A strangulation with gross glove Danny DeVito hands. Oh no! I love his dumb Danny DeVito penguin hands. So here's the thing. That's Pyramid Head. It's the pointed red, rusty red, hooded robe. The robe he wears. The fact that he is an executioner. That is Pyramid Head. And in my opinion, I think this is where James got the image of Pyramid Head from. I think the version we are seeing is his nightmare, hastily remembered concoction of what this is. Because he mentions he and Mary love going to Silent Hill. It was a vacation spot for them. So if he went to the real historical society, he would have seen this. And I think this is where the idea of Pyramid Head came from. This is the basis of that image that only grew and grew and grew and grew. So what we have now is a version of this historical picture of an executioner, the Crimson and White Banquet of the Gods, that James's mind and his own personal baggage has warped into the Pyramid Head that we see now. That's at least the way I look at it. I could be wrong, who knows? That's just kind of how I see it. Alright. Well, the hole's dark, and I can't see anything. Will you jump down? There's nowhere else to go. And we are at the bottom of a well with a puddle of stagnant water. So I would love to know how many people quit the game at this section, because there's no indication of how you get out. Like, you're stuck. This is it. Just a wall. It would be impossible to climb this. I would love to know how many people got stuck here and just turn the game off and never bother to continue. Like, you could not make this game. No modern game would try to pull a trick like this on you. You couldn't do it. It's one of the many reasons I think Silent Hill 2 is a game that can never truly properly be remade. And on the flip side, you can never get a game like it again. Because no game from a big publisher, even a lot of indie games, being blunt, are going to be willing to put you in a situation like this, where you are truly trapped and alone, and just let you sit and stew on that idea. Just a wall. There's a way out, of course. There's always a way out. But I would wonder how many games would be willing to do something like that in this day and age. Oh, wait. Huh, this is different. Just the spot here feels different than a normal wall. I wonder if I could somehow break it. There we go. There's always a way out. You check the menu for the stab option. Waiting for something to happen? That's honestly... Yeah, people would just Google it nowadays. And I think that's specifically the reason that no one would take the chance. Like, studios don't want to do that. They just, like, they want to have you instantly finish it. So they would have, like, the main character either say, maybe I should start bashing all of the walls. Or they'd have, like, a text pop-up say, objective, break the walls. The walls of Jericho. But I had to. Attitude era. I'm sorry. I had to. But, okay, so... this is, like, specifically for Rick. I think you can kind of start to see what I mean, where it's like, I said Omori was the Silent Hill RPG. There's a lot of differences in presentation, but thematically, and with a lot of tonal stuff, it is extremely similar. Or an extreme zoom up to an objective with glowing outline. Exactly. They would literally have it glow yellow or something like that. Like... Every time I see that meme video of the Silent Hill 2 remake get posted, like, it hurts because I know how accurate that would be. If they ever do a Silent Hill 2 remake, it's going to look exactly like that video, except maybe slightly less exaggerated. And I say maybe. I genuinely don't know. Yeah, they are very similar. Like, it's why it really struck me. It's like, oh, it is quite similar. Very captivating. But once again, we are at even deeper. Yeah, you think it's the game about grief at first. And then it starts to change a little bit. Get over here. Coward. And then, it starts to surprise you. But once again, we are now in an even deeper prison. Surrounded by stagnant water. Yeah, you find out it's about... Spoiler. So, you know what? I think it's about time we gotta talk about what the stagnant water means. Because we see it everywhere. It's the first image you see in the game. It's all over the fog and Otherworld. The molds that you see all the time... is a response or caused by this. It is everywhere. So it's probably about time we actually just get to what the fuck is the point of the stagnant water imagery? Well, this is where some Shinto comes into it. So let's talk about water symbolism. So in Shinto, there's this term. Rick is just asking for something to spoil it. Like, we'll see, but. I think, unfortunately, one of the problems I have with Silent Hill 2 is it really ham-fists foreshadowing towards this point of what the big reveal is going to be. And even if you don't know the specifics, you can kind of guess maybe James was kind of a cunt in Mary's final days, and maybe the game's about that. Well, I think that's fair to say with all the information we have presented so far. But... in Shinto, there's a term, forgive the pronunciation, called kagare. Now, kagare means unclean, and kagare can relate to a few things, but the most notable I found were blood and water, where the idea of you have this flowing water, like rivers and things like that, like flowing, healthy, natural bodies of water, are spiritually clean. But kagare is spiritually unclean and tainted water, which is symbolized by stagnant water. Or in the case of blood, it would probably be blood no longer flowing because the person's dead. Kagare blood kind of thing. So the idea of, like, this... Every game is a sewer level lol. Fortunately, this game has a hallway. It's only this hallway that has this. But with the idea of kagare, about every area in Silent Hill 2 has this stagnant water imagery, except for 2. Because if you paid close attention, and I didn't bring this up, and I regret it now, but if you paid close attention to after the very first Otherworld transition, right after James has finally been challenged on his Mary died 3 years ago story, it's raining. It is flowing water. It is spiritually clean water for the first time in the entire game. Okay, that's interesting. There's one more moment we will not see flowing spiritually clean water, not Kagare. It's like Dark Souls and swamps. Like, ugh, God, I can't wait to be mad at Elden Ring's inevitable swamp shithole. Can't wait. But the question is, what could this spiritually unclean, stagnant water mean for James? Because this is all his mind. Well, it could mean in those however many years, like he's saying 3 years, but the story's kind of starting to fall apart. However many years his wife has been dead, however long, James has become unclean by the inaction. His life hasn't moved on. It has been stuck in that moment, in that almost like purgatorial state. And he has become unclean as a result. And there's more we can get into, but unfortunately we're going to have to save that for later. But I found that very interesting, since I think it kind of lines up. But who knows? We'll go in there in a second. We'll go in here first. This is something the evil within stole. What the hell kind of room is this? Got the spiral writing key. I press the switch, but nothing happens. The flashlight's out. For the first time in the game, James no longer has his light. Ever since getting it. Ever since getting his light from a representation of his wife with the exact outfit that she had on that day, he has had that light. Now it's gone. But there's a way. What if we just put this in? What's it in it? Ah! Gross. Alright, so this is a randomized puzzle, like a lot of the other number-based ones. Alright, it's wrong. Wrong, okay. Wrong, okay. Wrong, okay. There we go. Yeah, so unfortunately that's completely randomized. Yep, so coded in bugs the second the light comes back. Now let's use you. There we go. Alright, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a look at this. I got stuck on this room, lol. That's what I'm saying. What games would do this? Would have like layered puzzles where the dungeon before has the item that you need to progress now. Like, games don't do this shit anymore. Like, they don't like try to really make you test all your options. Where it's like, for all my problems with Silent Hill 2, it does stuff like that, and it's very interesting. So the Evil Within stole this. This is the ceiling. These are the walls, and we are coming out from the floor. So, where is... Yeah, everything else wasn't too bad. No, it's not. It's not that bad. That's the thing. It's just like, no game tries to take risks like that. And it ends up, like, the bug room ends up being an extremely memorable part of the game because they took that risk. And they let you try to find your way on your own. Very cool. Spiral writing key. And once again, I am going to save state because this is a CG cutscene coming up ahead, and we may have to reset. I'm gonna save state that. Groovy, groovy. Alright. Make sure the audio is not desynced. Should be good. Alright. we shall jump in, and the image will become more obvious. Out of the floor, down the hall.
Killing a person ain't no big deal. Just put the gun to their head. Pow. You killed him? But it wasn't my fault. He made me do it.
Calm down, Eddie. Tell me what happened.
That guy, he had it coming. I didn't do anything. He just came after me. Besides, he was making fun of me with his eyes, like that other one.
Just for that, you killed him?
What do you mean, just for that?
Eddie, you can't just kill someone because of the way they looked at you.
Oh yeah? Why not? Till now I always let people walk all over me. Just like that stupid dog. He had it coming too.
Eddie?
I was just joking, James. He was dead when I got here, honest. Anyway, I gotta run.
You're going out there alone?
Yeah.
Eddie?
Max Sterner would be proud. Hell yeah. Sterner posting live in 2021. Anyone who looks at me is a spook. They must be dealt with accordingly. Oh yeah, Eddie and his fucking gun. So I love that cutscene. I fucking love it. And I actually, this is where Eddie's voice actor really started to win me over. I think the scenes he has after this, he does, for the most part, a pretty good job. Like, I thought he was whatever up until now, but he does a pretty good job up from this point onward, where he sounds manic and pathetic at the same time. Where he's just whiny, but completely erratic and just off his chain. Where it's like, where he starts complaining, like, just like that stupid dog, man. He had it coming too. Like, he sounds like he's on the verge of tears while also just on the verge of blowing James's fucking brains out. It's great. And let's examine this. It's a corpse. The body is marked bullet holes. But there's... So once again, I will bring up the point of Eddie that I really like, is the shot framing. Shot framing becomes important again. So, Eddie, through the entire game, every time we've seen him, has been shown as being beneath James. Every scene. The very first scene in the apartment complex, he's shown as beneath him, groveling over a toilet, throwing up violently. Second scene, he's beneath James. James is looking down on him again. He's sitting there eating his fucking pizza, looking dopey. Here, once again, Eddie is shown as being beneath James. James walks up to him, looks down at him sitting on the floor, and Eddie's just rambling about how, that guy came after me. He was totally gonna get me, and but he was also like making fun of me with his eyes. And when James challenges him, just for that you killed him, Eddie stands up. What do you mean, just for that? For the first time in the game, Eddie and James are on the same level. They are 1-to-1 with each other. And with one exception, Eddie will never be framed as being beneath James ever again. And the moment that they become on the same level is when James is challenging Eddie about motivations to kill others. Very interesting. Let's move on. I think that's awesome. I love that shit. So before we pick this up, we'll look at this painting. It is the cafeteria. Oh man. It's the cafeteria. However, it is the cafeteria, and you can see the same picture in the back, so it's kind of like this endless looping sort of thing. Very cool. Let's pick this up. It's the tablet of the gluttonous pig. We'll look at that in a second. We'll save the game. We are in the prison cafeteria. Metal tablet with gluttonous pig drawn on one side. Found it in the dining room. And there we have it. Pretty obvious this is supposed to represent Eddie. So let's talk about this. This is actually a depiction of an Aztec god. Now, you're going to have to forgive me, because I am terrible with the Mesoamerican pronunciations of things. So you're going to have to forgive me for this next chunk of the game, but... this is actually a depiction of an Aztec god, Tlahuizcatl, I believe is how it's pronounced, which is a war god, which is aligned with the planet Venus. And Tlahuizcatl is more commonly associated with having a poison dart as a weapon that it would shoot at people. Kind of like a gun. Very primitive gun, don't you think? And it is a gluttonous pig depicted in eating food, sitting down. How can you just sit there and eat? But it's a depiction of a war god. Huh. Interesting. Let's move on. So first things first, we gotta get the map so we're not completely lost. Get out of here. Get out of here. There we go. Quetzalcoatl? No, Quetzalcoatl is not involved in this game. We have two more, though. We have two more we're going to talk about. Maybe four if we do Born from a Wish. Quetzalcoatl, is that how you spell it? I think it might be. Again, I'm definitely not an expert in Mesoamerican mythology. So, I'm doing the best I can, trying to put together information, just for the sake of Silent Hill 2. But... 1 minute. You know what? If people want to take a shot at pronouncing it, I will write it down in the chat of what Tlahuizcatl looks like. Just a minute. Just writing this down. There we go. That is the... I'm trying to pronounce. That is the god it's depicting. Alright. I love how oppressive the audio design in the prison is. Just this constant bang, 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 bang. Just... God, it's so oppressive sounding. Locked. Yeah, it seems close enough. Like, obviously it's not ideal, but I am far from an expert when it comes to like Mesoamerican shit, so I'm doing the best I can. Alright, so let's go through here. You know, for a Civil War prison, it's a little bizarre that there's so many modern amenities we've been seeing so far. It's kind of impossible, like two-way interview mirrors, things like that. Seems kind of impossible, don't you think? Alright. Got a lighter. Yeah, it's like, seems kind of impossible. Like, modern toilets, modern amenities like this, like, it seems a little strange. So, when you knock 3 times on this bathroom stall, you get what sounds like someone getting horribly murdered. Just instant and then silence. Silenced instantly. It's 3 times when you knock on it. Keep that in mind. Let's keep that in mind. Is there anything else in here? I think it's just a save point. Yeah. We don't need to save, though. We just did. Alright, we gotta go in here, though. Reach for the sky. Hell yeah. Right in the gooch. Got an ampoule. Alright, let's look at this. Let's go in here, we'll get an item, then we'll read a note. That is interesting, and I can't quite make sense of it, but we'll use it as a little launch pad to talk about more things. We get the hunting rifle, the most powerful gun in the game, bar none. We're gonna save that for the boss fights. Jerk. There we go. Reload the gun. How many bullets we got? We got plenty. We got plenty. We're good for the rest of the game. The room is the worst in the series. Silent Hill 4? I go back and forth, because, like, Silent Hill... Okay, so, first of all, I don't like Silent Hill 4. Let's get that right on the table. I think Silent Hill 4, the room, sucks. And I had, like, a 10-hour stream where I just screamed into a microphone my pain and misery of Silent Hill 4, while also looking at... like, I did the full scripted video, where I sort of calmly and try to respectfully state my case for why I think Silent Hill 4 is bad. But worst in the series, I don't know. There's some bad Silent Hill games. Like, I will say, like, when I did the Western game marathon, I was extremely surprised that Silent Hill Origins bored me to tears as hard as it did. Like, I was actually, like, genuinely shocked how much I hated playing Origins. At the moment, it sure felt like the worst one in the series for me, but if I really had to say, it's probably fucking Downpour. Like, Downpour's rough. Downpour's really rough. And at the very least, Silent Hill 4, it's the only one of the post-3 games. If I didn't know this is the name, I would think a person that was speaking in tongues. Yeah, like, it's... that Mesoamerican mythology names, man, they're fucking crazy. But yeah, I don't know, like, what is the worst Silent Hill game? Like, to me, it's such a hard question, and the fact is, like, of the 8 main games, there's 4 I like, there's 4 I don't, and I just kind of, like, don't bother to rank them outside of that. So let's read this note here. I'm not quite sure what to make sense of this one, but we'll use it as a diving board to talk about notes in this game in general. There's a magazine here. I've never seen it before. It's probably a locally published magazine. Toluca Lake, town's main tourist attraction. This clear, beautiful lake has another side as well. It may seem like just a typical ghost story that you might find in any number of old towns across the country, but in this case, the legend is true. On a fog-bound November day in 1918, the Little Baroness, a ship filled with tourists, failed to return to port. A newspaper article from back then simply says it most likely sunk for some reason. Despite an extensive police search, not a single fragment of the ship nor any of the 14 bodies of passengers or crew has ever been recovered to this day. In 1939, an even stranger incident occurred. There are many pages torn out. Many corpses rest at the bottom of this lake. Their bony hands reach up towards the boats that pass overhead. Perhaps they reach for their comrades. So, this just seems like a random tragedy involving the lake. A couple of them. But really what gets me, the real question I have is... Okay, so, 1918... 1938. 1918 is the official end, and 1938 is the often considered start of the World Wars. The end of World War I, the start of World War II. What relevance does that have? I don't fucking know. Or 39, excuse me. But, what reference? What point? I genuinely don't know. It is an extremely baffling little detail. I don't know why they put that there, but it's there. And it seems intentional because those are very specific dates to choose. So let's just kind of use this as a branch point. What are the notes? Because so far we've been seeing a lot of these kind of things that have nothing to do with James or his journey or any of the characters' journey for that matter. And all they are is just trying to express, like, very tragic events. Like, we have the notes in the hospital, we have the newspaper article about Walter Sullivan, we have this about the Little Baroness ship, and whatever was torn out from the 1939 part of the article. It's unclear, but the way I'd put it is let's keep in mind, only 2 of these are products of the town that are directly speaking to James. Only 2 of the entire game. So they can fill many roles, but for the most part, they seem like they are describing real events that have happened. So, as we have talked about before, like, there seems to be 3 layers to Silent Hill. There is the real world, where, say, like, what we're doing right now. If Silent Hill was a real place, if it were, for sake of argument, it would be what we would see if we went there, like everyone here. We just go there, it would be a regular tourist town, regular people doing their regular things. There's the Fog World, which seems to be like this dream intersection, where different people in the dream can interact with each other. And then there's the other world where people are locked to their own personal nightmares. Or it is one person's nightmare with other people sucked into it and trapped there. As was the case in Silent Hill 1. So, okay. But what are the notes? Well, in my opinion, the notes in Silent Hill 1 and 2, they're talking about events and people from that first layer, the waking world, that are real, for the most part. Notice how, though, all of them are talking about tragedies, crimes, or people's own personal turmoils, like the crisis of faith with the doctor or the suicide note from the roof of the hospital. Notice how it's always those. So, what I'm starting to think is, like, these are just, like, residual scraps of tragedy and misery left around. But why, though? Just put a pin in this idea. We'll come back to it at the very end. Well, let's go. Did I pick up the lighter? Am I a genius? Yes, I am. Hell yeah. Let us go. We got more to do. Alright, we'll go down here. That's locked. I believe it's this door that we want to go to. So this is kind of an interesting bit of audio design. Let's kill the lion figures around here first, just to get their walking thing to shut up. Let's kill them. Get them out of here. There we go. Get you out of here. So we're gonna reload the gun. Then we're gonna examine the map. So we are in the center of this, like, C shape for the shower block. So in the center, we have that droning, banging metal sound. Let's go to the corner over here. So now we have more of this droning hum. Alright, interesting. Let's go to the top corner. We have another droning hum. This one's different, though. It isn't constant. It comes in and out like a wave. I'm not sure why they did this. There's just 3 very distinct audio sections of this room. It is a strange detail. I'm not sure why they did it, but I appreciate that they did. Now, here we are in a shower. This is the most obvious depiction of it. In fact, if we go over here, there's a shower here, but it's broken. No water comes out. So we're in a shower. Okay, so this is fucked up. This one's... The full context will be made obvious later, but this one's fucked up. I got the tablet of the seductress. Middle tablet with seductress drawn on one side. Found it in the shower room. So what we see here is yet another Aztec depiction. So this one is a depiction of the Aztec goddess of Mayahuel, a manifestation of the maguey or agave plant, which was an intoxicant. Usually, Mayahuel is depicted with a knife, and... not water, kagare, sake, gu, whatever you said, kagare. Yeah, there's no water. There's no flow. It's all stagnant. It's kagare water. But... Here's the thing, we have the seductress depicting a goddess of intoxicants, of sort of a recreational drug plant. And the goddess is usually depicted with a knife, though, in her right hand. Yeah, intoxicant, the shine. Bob is listening. Bob is interested. But in her left hand, you see she's giving like that little like thumbs up motion. Well, that's because in the actual artwork of Mayahuel, you'll see she has a knife in her left hand in that pose. She doesn't have the knife though. Who had a knife? Doesn't have it anymore. And this is where it gets really fucked up. So we have the seductress, based on a goddess representing an intoxicant, who is symbolic of Angela. Has shown some very concerning behavior about apologizing to James, and discomfort around James, and fear of James. And we find this in a shower. If you're not picking it up yet, we're gonna... Next time we meet Angela, we're going to get some more context clues that are going to make that extremely fucking cruel. The seductress is her name on Rule 34. I mean, hey. Listen, right? I don't judge. I don't judge. Alright, so this is usually interesting. Unfortunately, it's going to be too hard to show this enemy off because of line figures making noise. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into here, go through here, then we're going to go to the other side and get what we want. Got the wax doll. Books are scattered all over the bed and floor. On demon sacrifice and the art of demon summoning. Tome of the seer. The feast of the succubi. The fallen angels of mercy and favor. Hey, this is my library. I guess I shouldn't worry too much about these. What is also cool is that what we see on the wall here seems to be a prototype of what would become the halo of the sun in Silent Hill 3. And probably the most famous bit of imagery in the series. Like, I have a patch of it on my fucking metal jacket that I go to shows in. Very cool. Oh. Ow. There we go. I'm gonna kick you while you're down. Hell yeah. Like the gamer I am. Yeah, we're stacked. We're very comfortable for beating this game. We have a lot of resources at our disposal. Alright, so what we need to do is get up to the top corner. What I need to do is pause the game so I can catch up on my notebook, make sure we're on track here. Okay, here we go. Yeah, we're on track. We're making progress. We are only at 3 hours, and yeah, I don't think we're gonna go for full 5 today. I think we'll be at like 4. If I really stretch, it'll be like 4.5. But now this is gonna be interesting. This is one of the other areas where it is, I gotta throw my hands in the air and say I'm not quite sure what to make of this. There's a bunch of paintings in here. Let's look at these. Woman in flight. So this one seems pretty obvious. This one seems like, okay, it is a woman in flight. It's ladies flying, but woman in flight can also mean some woman evading something, running away from something. Who'd we know who's doing that, right? Like, so that's interesting. Here's the one I don't understand. 436 people at a recital. I'm going to be honest with you, Chief. I've got to throw my hands up at this one. I have no idea what this could be referring to. Is there some significance to 436 that I didn't pay attention to? Did I miss something? Am I thinking at a weird angle and not thinking outside the box about what it could be? I have no clue. Like, this is the one that makes absolutely no goddamn sense to me. So, if anyone's got an idea about what this picture can mean, have at it. I should reload my gun. Hell yeah. But there is one that I can put together. It's the last painting. Hospital room number? Honestly, it might be. It could be. Like, that's the thing. It's like, I'm not quite sure. It's such a very strange one, because we don't ever get definitive numbers for much anything. However, I do know what this one means. So, pay attention to this layout. What we have here is a large 3-story building on what appears to be on a pier of some kind. So, like, we have the pier in the center. On the left, we have a light post. And it is a staircase up that you have to take to get to the front entrance of this 3-story large building. This almost mansion-like building. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. It's on fire, though. The Burning Man. Keep this in mind. This is going to be interesting later. Probably tomorrow, if I'm being honest. Now, here's where we're going to have to put on our listening caps, folks, because we're going to see an enemy in a second here. A secret enemy. Notice how James is looking? You can aim your gun at it. This is an enemy called the Prisoner. We can kill this thing. We get absolutely nothing for doing it. It cannot hurt us. We can't access it. We can't see it. For me, it's always like this. Maybe. Maybe there's something to do with that. But we can't see him. We can't access him. He can't hurt us. We can kill him. Yeah, it's a Joshua Graham cameo. He survived because the fire within burned brighter than the fire out. So, I killed it in my playthrough. See, that's interesting. You don't have to. You can leave it. You can completely ignore this. But what I find interesting is, what is it saying? Like, I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to let the audience kind of get a good listen for it, and then we'll discuss. Because there's 2 things I think I might be saying. Okay, so McCready's saying... Yeah, this thing freaked me out. This is one of the freakiest enemies in the game. It does nothing, but it's just guttural noise it's making. It's horrible. But Ritual. See, that's one of the ones I'm hearing too. And that was the first one I ever considered. However, when I tried to remove myself from the situation and tried to like listen to it on its own, I heard something else, and I think this is interesting. I'm hearing, "You should know." That's what I'm hearing. "You should know." And that's interesting in the context of an entrapped enemy whispering, "You should know," while locked inside of a prison cell. Oh, we can go in this one. I heard that too. Yeah, it's like, I'm hearing "you should know." That's what I hear it saying. So, we're inside of another prison cell. And we have... There are magazines here. Nothing of particular interest. We have the last tablet. The Tablet of the Oppressor. Let's read this. This one is interesting. I found it in a cell. We have two figures on this depiction. So, this is kind of the interesting one. The oppressor, like let's say the one on the right, the one pushing what appears to be a lady down, kind of manhandling it, that's not based on anything. That is an original drawing by the artist Masahiro Ito for the sake of this tablet in the form of, in the art style of Aztec Mesoamerican mythology. That's an original creation. On the flip side, on the left, that is an actual depiction of an Aztec god. That is a depiction of... One minute. Oh boy, how do I pronounce this? We'll call it like the Oppressed, the one on the left. That is based on the Aztec goddess Tlazolteotl. Now, Tlazolteotl is the goddess of sin and is the patroness of adulterers. Now, another thing that I think is interesting is a visual callback this has. Now, I could be reading too far into this. I completely admit this could just be like art showing someone like this thing beating up Tlazolteotl over here. But when I see this, I am distinctly reminded of when Pyramid Head was manhandling the mannequins. It looks very similar to that to me. A very similar idea of just like fumbling around with the limbs of someone. Like, it reminds me a lot of that scene with Pyramid Head and mannequins. That's what I'm seeing, however. I could be wrong. However, this does lead us to the last time, fortunately, that we will have to mention Sigmund Freud, because I think this is a reference to something called the Madonna Horror Complex. So what we have here is the oppressor, oppressing, attacking, manhandling around the goddess of sin and adultery. So, for like a basic TLDR of this, the Madonna Horror Complex is, as Freud described it, a tendency for men to see women as either pure and saintly Madonnas, quote-unquote, or these debased and filthy whores, quote-unquote, with, like, no human nuance in between them. It's one or the other, black or white, up or down, A or B, kind of thing. Now, and Freud pointed out saying, like, the dichotomy and split between people who really suffer with Madonna Horror Complex, as he described it, which, again, as we talked about earlier, no scientific evidence, etc. But, for the sake of this game's discussion, as Freud put it, the problem with people who suffer with the Madonna Horror Complex is that they want to have, like, their baser pleasures with the whores, but that disgusts them, and they truly desire the Madonnas, but because of what they associate their baser pleasures with, they don't want to pursue that with Madonna, so they also desire the whore, and it kind of creates this cyclic loop in their mind. AKA misogyny, yes. Exactly, pretty much on the dot. What we're seeing here, though, in my opinion, is I think what we're seeing with Madonna Whore being referenced is the dichotomy between Mary and Maria. Because what we have is a depiction of essentially the exact same person in wildly different styles. Like, we only heard a brief bit of Mary at the very beginning, but she sounds like very demure, very reserved, and as you can see, like, she has this very conservative kind of dressing style to her. And like, when we read her letter, like, it's just like very somber. I was taking a shower. Are we talking Freud again? I promise this is the last time we have to talk about him. But it's about Madonna Whore. And so we have like this very demure, kind of passive Madonna in Mary. Where she's like, she's very conservative, very soft-spoken. And, oh, I'm just waiting for you, James. On the flip side of that, we have the whore in Maria. Where Maria as the whore is, like, she's explicitly sexual, she's flirtatious, she pushes back against James. She challenges him. But at the end of the day, these two people, as drastically, cartoonishly, I would add, different as they are depicted, they are the same person. Remember, just your hair and your clothes are different. That's it. That's the only difference. At least on the surface level. The iron bar door is tightly closed. I can't force it open. Iron bar door is tightly closed. I can't force it open. You get out on number 3. 3 knocks on the bathroom door for the sound of what is in the woman's washroom, I will add. That is the woman's washroom that had the knock on the bathroom jump scare. Now it's unlocked. We have unfinished business on this side, though. But essentially, we have, in the woman's washroom, we had 3 knocks on the door for the jump scare of what sounds like presumably a woman getting like hard murdered. Here, we have 3 attempts to escape the prison cell. And in that prison cell, we find the tablet of the oppressor. The gluttonous pig is Eddie. The seductress is Angela. I wonder who that could be. So this is interesting. That is the sound of horses running across tracks that are playing here. Now, this is fascinating. So what we have here are 3 nooses. And down here, what we have are 2 triangle-shaped men holding sticks with someone hanging in the middle of them. And 3 slots underneath. Pay attention to that image. We're going to be seeing that again in a while. But, yeah, gallows, yeah, got 3 nooses. We have 2 triangle-shaped men, 1 person hanging in the middle, and the triangle-shaped men appear to have spears on them. I give you blood to atone for the 3 sins, is written on top of the painting. Beneath the painting are 3 square depressions. Use them all. Here we go. Well, solve the puzzle, everyone. But what's this? You got a horseshoe. So, we got all the tools we need to finish the puzzle. So I didn't talk about it too much, but this game has some genuinely terrible puzzle design. I'm trying to be positive, but this is one of the bigger issues Silent Hill 2 has, where its logic, more often than not, just boils down to rub the thing on the thing and hope for the best. And this is one of the most infamous examples of such. So, let's go. And having the combine feature just makes it even more awkward. There's a cover on the ground, but I can't open it. There's only a depression left where there was probably once a handle. Ah, you know, if there was only some kind of pry I had, something that I could just, like, you know, pry this door open with. Ah, it's too difficult, though. Instead, what we're going to do is, let's take this wax doll, let's combine it with this lighter, I'll combine it with this horseshoe, and we'll make a handle. There we go. Perfect. Perfect. Will you jump in? We're jumping down another hole. For a third time, we must go down. Turn my page over here. Excuse me, what? Like, yep, what? That is probably the most infamous puzzle in Silent Hill 2 for pure nonsense. Like, yeah, it's very 90s point and click. I think the puzzle design is the weakest aspect of Silent Hill 2. It's either brain dead or the most frustrating, baffling shit on the planet. There's no middle ground. Alright, so let's check the map here. We are in the basement. No way up again, so let's check the doors. As I approach the door, I get a whiff of some rotten smell coming from inside. I have literally never seen that in every time I've played this game. I've never paid. That is nutty. Who do you think would have been a better character for Dead by Daylight, Cheryl or James? Honestly, like, in an ideal world, I would have said neither, because for artistic integrity's sake, I would be like, yeah, I think it's kind of cheap to have something like Silent Hill 2 as, like, here he is! It's like, imagine if in Dead by Daylight they added Jack Torrance. That's kind of how I feel about, like, Silent Hill being there. It kind of cheapens it, but if it had to be anyone, honestly, I would have had Harry Mason, and I would have had Shatter Memories Harry Mason, because he's literally doing Dead by Daylight survivor tactics to escape the monsters. He's pulling down pallets, he's jumping over vaults, like, he's literally just doing Dead by Daylight shit. So I would have had him, but I like Heather. I think Heather's one of the she's the most fun protagonist of all the games. So I think having, like, Cheryl / Heather there is, I think that's the right call. I think that was a good one. Gotta go, the streams made me want to play this. So if you want to play this game, if you want to do it, absolutely do it on your own. We are about to get to absolute spoiler territory. We are on the verge. We are on the verge of the big reveals. And if you want to go in and experience this firsthand for yourself, this is 100% the point of no return, time to leave kind of thing. Because, like, we're gonna talk about some stuff. Well, there's only one door left down here. What? I'm gonna spoil it. Well, look, I mean, if someone wants to do this blind, this is 100% the time to get out. Like, I don't think it's ruined the reveal yet. There's still a lot of surprises. Okay, bye. Take it easy, Wolfenstrike. Thanks for coming by. Once again, there's a lot of free ways you can play this, so I highly, highly, Highly recommend this. Huh, there's nowhere to go. We're trapped once again. Or are we? So, as you can see, like, there's always like a thick line representing a door. The thin lines are walls, thick lines are doors. There's no door here. This is uncharted territory. We're going head first in. Oh, I love this room. Did that just move, or was it my imagination? The corpse smells nauseatingly of rotten flesh. He'll never say that again. It looks like in the hole. There's something in the hole. It looks like it's all dismembered. No, I can't look at it anymore. A horrible smell is coming from the hole. He has unique lines that he will say once, and only once. And this is the best one. This is fantastic. My god. In the hole? I didn't see that. A horrible smell is coming from the hole. That's so good. It's so good. But it's just like bodies stacked on top of each other. It's like you can't see a ceiling either, so it's like, does the body stacks just go on forever? Do they just go up forever? Like, it's so nightmarish. Love it. And we have another hole. This corpse in this hole. Once again. And this one's rank. Like, this one is fucked. So let's go down. There's a hole in the floor. I can't see the bottom. How far does this thing go? Will you go down? It's number 4. This is one of the most horrible noises I've ever heard in my life. Like, this is genuinely unpleasant to hear. Alright, well, there's another hole. Another hole? Do I really have to drop through it? Will you go down? Number 5. It's making my skin crawl. It's horrible. Ah, the sound is terrible. What we have is a way forward, but nowhere else to go. The lock is broken. I can't open it. I don't have a map of this area. It's an elevator. And where's this elevator going? It's going down. Almost like wind blowing through a hole. We're going all the way down. So this goes on for like a good solid minute. Like, it's long enough to let you know, like, oh yeah, this is down. This is all the way down. Impossibly so. And there it is. And we are in the labyrinth.